Hello everybody. I have class in about 4 hours, so I'm just gonna, and my homework is done, so you don't get to see any school homework, but I've got Rabbit Fighter going. I'm still working on the middle panel. And that's the one where we see the sand monster coming out. I did a little bit of it yesterday. Gonna do a little sound effect. That seems to kind of work. This is a low angle, so I could even probably reduce the horizon line even lower. We got to put the night sky in the background and do the lettering and stuff. Let's pull the pencils off for a second, see how far it's gone. It's actually kind of where I need it to go. Needs a little bit more texture and some cleanup. I'll admit that my main goal with these is not to go too crazy, like not to worry about it too much. We just want to get story across and get through it in a readable and enjoyable way. I see a lot of people sort of like going for perfection, like they really go for it, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do the best you can, but I'm going to reiterate, I'm going to make some kind of zine about my philosophy of comics. It'll be like the 10 Bullets zine. I actually had a bunch of it written down. Is this the thing? Yeah, bullet number 1, comics shall be printed on newspaper if possible. Establishing shots, backgrounds, respect the grid. I've got all these different like philosophical points that I like to make sure are respected in my stuff, because that's what makes for readable comics. Even when you take a really great artist, I'm not talking like a great artist like someone by our current standards of great artists. Let's say we took Pablo Picasso and we said, we want you to make a comic. If he goes off into the wilderness and he comes back a year later and shows you his graphic novel, it's probably not as much fun to read as Dick Tracy, you know. And the reason is because he doesn't really understand the simplicity of comics. Well, maybe he does. I have no idea. I don't know. Pablo Picasso might have understood the simplicity of comics. There is a simplification that's involved, though, and that has to be built into the equation somewhere. They are a periodical art form. Optimized for print. These are outdated definitions, I'm sure. But even when you take, like, let's say you take a webcomic, it is, you know how it's vertical? That's a different beast because it's optimized for scrolling. And so comics, as we understand them, the kind of comics that I want to make are optimized for print. Even though I know that print is no longer really a truly viable option. Alright, I think this works. What we're going to have to do, though, is we're going to have to do our speech bubbles, and then we're going to have to do the tones in the background. So it's got to be in that order. Yeah. Anyways, the most important thing, I think, is just simplification has to be built into the process. If you don't want to drive yourself insane. I mean, yeah, I guess you don't have to Build simplification into the process. You're free to suffer. To take a year working on one comic. But I wouldn't want that for you. Or to take your comic and make sure that it only approaches serious subjects. I mean, I guess so. But wouldn't you feel a little bit cheated if you couldn't do a comic that involved a giant robot or a giant monster of some sort? I got some tangents going on here, for sure. So anyways, whoops. Throw some white in there. There we go, that filled it right up. Bip-ba-dip. There we go. Bring it back to black. Get on to the tones. Because this panel is so close to that panel, I'm going to make it on its own new tones layer, just in case they start to cross-pollinate here. If I get some tones from this one over to that one, it'll be really hard to take it off without hurting the other one. So. I'm going to make sure that there's a little nimbus of light around Rabbit Fighter. I'm going to go right into the dark shader now. Now, it just so happens that I'm also working on this other comic that involves a space background, which is pretty much identical to the Night with Stars background. There we go, that looked pretty good. And we're just going to erase all the extra stuff. So the other comic I'm doing is Void Circuit. And I've done one panel so far. I've got 2 pages. I've got this thing plotted out now, actually. Did a little bit of work on that. And to me, this is looking okay. Looking cool. And I'm looking forward to introducing these new characters. I'm going to do this as a series of Ashcan science fiction comics for about as long as I am, I don't know, inspired to do it. You know what I mean? Takes a while. But I think that's all you can really ask for. Whoops, this is the wrong page. You're in for as long as you're inspired. You gotta. The real trick is to stay inspired. Stay, you know, interested in what you're doing. And knowing how to start the next thing. Some people just go crazy just doing one comic and they finish the thing. They get to the last page and then they're done. They don't know what else to do. like that's it. That's all I had. The entire my collective output is there before you, you know. So, you know, have a couple of different things to say. It's a good thing. We'll bring back my sound effects. Black Rabbit Fighter up here. Truly getting good at something is a matter of doing it over and over again, doing as much as you can. So, even if you have just one thing that you care about, you should keep going. So that by the time you really do get to do that one thing, and by then you might find out you have more than one thing that you care about. But keep going. So that you can improve. Alright, how's that going to read it? Yep, that'll read okay. I'm looking for how it reads at the small size. I keep bringing up my... I'm going to print this at ash can size, about this big. You know, will we be able to see the character there? Now, I have this on its own layer, layer 19, but I'm going to go back to my original tones layer. Because now that I know I won't have to cross over layers, I can put in an additional set of shading on the characters, you know, on their clothing. And I know I won't cross over suddenly into the other panel. At least not in a way that I can't really easily fix. And it's under each panel of armor. I get a little shading. I would assume... Oh, that one's on the first one. I want to make sure these hands are in the light. Let's create shading down here. Whoops. If you look at that Wally Wood 22 panels that always work, about half the things in there have to do with how the your Ben-Day dots are used. It is a prominent part of the composition described by Wally Wood. And you might be thinking, that's crazy. Tones are part of the composition? Well, according to Wally Wood, who I wouldn't question. Alright, second of all, we want some attention being paid to this canister. Whole reason he jumped off the ship. Or was thrown off the ship. Okay. Good, let's add some stars in. Actually, we can put in, you know what we can put in? Let's go back to layer, this layer. Darken up a little bit. And I'm going to do it in the bubbles layer just for fun. Do some stars. Go back into the black. Layer 19. Just really light brushing on some texture. There we go. I'm just doing a little halo effect there. Looking good. Alright, I know it's a 20-minute video, we got a couple more minutes. Let's go ahead and grab my rusty nib one more time, go back to ink. I'm going to try and get a little bit of Isolt in here. Let's see if I can do the boat. Oh, I didn't even do the panel border. Alright, it's got to be one swipe. We want to try and get as smooth as possible, so it's... I was hoping for more like an arc. Not quite. Alright, straight line is fine. Let's use the straight line. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and panel border this. I think one a little thick on that bottom one. Pull the pencil off. Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. One minute to go. All right. Alright, panel 3. I guess that's it for this video. Please like, follow, and subscribe. Looks like we somehow made it through another panel. And that's a good thing. So page 8 is 2 out of 4 panels. That's halfway done, right? So, and we got a little bit of a hook into the second half. So we're more than halfway done at this point, and these look like easy panels, so they're all lettered, they're all ready to go. We just have to do the inking and maybe a little bit of the drawing. It'll be done before you know it. Please like, follow, and subscribe, and I will see you later.